Okay. All right, welcome. I'm also going to go ahead and go live over on the old Instagram here. All right. If I sound a little funny for the Instagram viewers because they can't see, it's because I'm wearing my respirator. I'm trying to model good behavior. You can see me looking like I'm wearing a gas mask if you tune in over on Twitch. I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer here. All right, looking good. All right, so I'm doing a little more work on these 3D prints today. Got a little bit more cleanup to do on the ones we already worked on. Got a fresh pile of new ones that need a little attention. And if all that goes quickly, I might get to painting some other projects. So, pretty cool. Okay, so first things first, I gotta sort these out by which ones need attention and which ones do not. I think it's going to be darn near all of them. There's one little, oh, this one actually looks good. All right, happy with that. All right, that's going to go in our little finished box. This one I think looks good. These need attention. Yeah, I'm going to give a little love to these. Hey, doing pretty good. Hello, Rose Gardener Queen. Hi, how are you? All right, yeah, these all look like they need a little bit of cleanup and attention. Just one of the weird things about doing some 3D print work is you always have just a little bit of cleanup to do on some of these, but Gabby's gonna love them. Hey, Grogan. Hey, good to see you, bud. All right, so these are all the ones that need a little bit of attention before I can move on. It's a pretty big production run. For those just tuning in, if I sound like Darth Vader, I'm wearing a respirator because this kicks up a lot of plastic dust. And I have a bunch of printers running in the room with me here. So, generally speaking, a lot of stuff you don't want to breathe in. All right. So with these, you can kind of see there's these little droopy bits on the fists. I just got to clean those off. Over on my Twitch, I'm gonna switch to the better view so that they can see it a bit too. The sort of under part of the fist needs some cleaning. So I'm just going to take my flush cutters and just clean all those up. It doesn't take much because this resin's not fully cured yet. It still needs some time in the curing box, but the nice part of that is that the plastic's still a little bit soft. See, Rose Gardener Queen says, how did you make those? I designed them myself in Blender, and then I 3D printed them. I have 4 3D printers here in my workshop. These are for our good friend, your homie, the Gnomie, Gabby Forza. And I'm pretty pleased with how they've turned out. She's going to be painting them herself when she gets them. But yeah, a bunch of these just need a little bit of love and attention paid to them. Some small artifacts from the printing process that just need to be cleaned up. All right, one down. Got a whole lot more to go. Right now, I'm about 23 figures into this production run. We're doing 40 on her first run, so there's a lot left to go. Yeah, that looks good. There's also this weird little bit of artifacting on the one leg that just comes off one printer. I'm not sure if that'll show on the Twitch cam. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a fun process. Toy making now is toy making and wrestling are my full-time jobs, so it's pretty cool. I get to work in my own basement, no boss, making toys for friends of mine. And I believe Gabby's not watching, so it won't spoil it for her, but I'm actually printing a much larger one of these on my filament printer right now, and that'll be for a display for her table. I'm just throwing that into the order for free. All right. And actually, I need to grab a... I thought I had all my tools out here, but always got to have an X-Acto knife nearby. Rose Gardner Queen says, "Do you miss wrestling?" Yeah, but I'll be back in the ring in a couple of weeks. I would have been in the ring on Saturday, but Blitzkrieg Pro just announced that because of the weather, they had to cancel the show. So, you know, it's that time of year where there's just fewer shows going on in this area because of the weather, and that's okay. It was going to be pretty dangerous to travel to and from that show, even for me when I live pretty close by. All right, yeah, that's a big improvement. I have found that the combination of some cheap dollar store sandpaper and a simple X-Acto blade is really effective in cleaning these prints up. Yeah, that's looking good. And you can see there's a lot of dust on these. That's going to get cleaned off because I'm going to give all these one more run. I have an ultrasonic cleaner full of isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to give them all one more run through that, and that'll take all this right off there, leave them looking fresh and clean. And then I'll put them through the curing box one last time and get them fully cured. Right now they're only partially cured. This is kind of how they come off the actual printer. This is relaxing work compared to how I spent my morning. I had to shovel my driveway by hand because the rain and the slush made the snow far too heavy for a snowblower, and that's the worst. The fluffy stuff is easy. Just walk behind the machine while it does the work. When it's heavy like this, it's all on me. Thankfully, sometimes the human monster truck can become the human snowplow. All right, yeah, that's cleaning up real nice. I like that. All right, yeah, that's looking good. And we gotta get those little hand snips. Yeah, I really can't stress enough how much a good pair of flush cutters are worth. And these are super cheap, but boy, I keep a few within reach at all times because you never know. All right, now this looks like it just needs a little bit of light scraping there. Some of them, the artifacting from the printing process kind of affects every print a little bit different as things like temperature and humidity change in the workshop. And I have my printers in an enclosure now that I built in the last couple weeks, but that only does so much, really. All right, that's looking pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. But yeah, with all of these, whenever you do a print like this, especially for a customer, you want to look over every part of the figure and really make sure that you want to give them something really nice because they're paying you for it. If I was only making toys for like my collections, it's possible that my concern for all these little details might be less. But in this case, someone paid me for it and they're trusting me to produce something high quality. I know I'm very excited to see how Gabby paints these up when she gets them, because she's going to do the painting before she sells them. Because right now they're just this sort of translucent resin, which is cool, but yeah, I'm excited to see what she does with it. All right. As always with X-Acto blades, be very careful. Super sharp, very dangerous. But try my best to, again, model good behavior. Small controlled movements. I see my number one fan from Japan watching. Miss, glad to see you. Miss Nina tuning in. All right, that looks good. All right, I think we're in good shape there. And on to the next. Yeah, like I said, I'm some 23 prints deep into this 40 print order. I'm very pleased with how they're going. I've had the chance to do a little work on my machines and my workshop setup. All right, that's looking good. One of the nice things about working on these before they're fully cured, before they've been through the curing box, is the plastic is a little bit more receptive to the changes I need to make on it. All the little scrapes and sanding. If this was fully cured, I'd have to be really kind of grinding on it. So it's nice to be able to have this sort of midpoint to do some finer cleanup work on it. All right, that's pretty good. Again, for those who've just joined, if I sound like Darth Vader, it's because I'm bothering to wear my respirator. I did not wear it the other day and regretted it immediately. That little bit of a cough from breathing in microplastics. All right. But with these 100% infill prints, you always wanna clean up right where the supports touch. Hey, Rise watching on Twitch, and Travis Huckabee's tuned in. Travis says, what are you working on? I am working on, this is a production run of figures for your homie, the Gnomie, Gabby Forza, a custom design that she commissioned for me. I'll give a little bit of a close-up, sort of a little standing garden gnome figure. And she's going to be painting them herself. Right now they're just a clear, translucent filament. But yeah, I got a whole run of them here and a whole bunch more off on the other side. That they all need the feet sanded flat so that they stand like this. And then there's a bunch of little artifacts from the printing process that I'm cleaning up. All right. I love seeing over on the Instagram Live some of my Japanese fans tuning in. That's really cool. I know it's morning over in Japan. Konnichiwa. And I hope they're enjoying my weird 3D print workshop ASMR with my space heaters running, my air purifiers running, and 3 printers running behind me. The sound is a little strange, admittedly. Not totally ideal. And I wish I knew what in my printer setting was causing this one little anomaly. It's only one of my printers doing it, so I know it's not in the model. It appears to be an issue with the setup on that one printer, but not something I want to address in the middle of a run. I'd rather just sand and scrape and fix it by hand, and all's well that ends well. All right, that's looking good. Now I imagine both cameras will pick it up, but on the bottom of the arm here, there's just a little bit of artifacting from where the supports were touching. And that sands away pretty easy, thankfully. Just a few passes and it's like it was never there. Oh, much, much better. I can't wait to see these once they're finished up, once Gabby has them and they're on her merch table. You know, I know for me personally, the figures I made for myself sold really well. I could never keep them in stock. So I imagine these Your Homie the Gnome figures will sell really well, and I can't wait to hear back from her on how it went. All right, so a little more cleanup here. Oh, that's much better. Much better. Yeah, it's one of the great things about working from home, working for myself on terrible snow days like today. I didn't have to call out. I didn't even have to go outside if I didn't want to, but I did have to clear my driveway because I have deliveries coming. I always have deliveries coming. There we go. Good. Oh, that's real nice. Okay. But yeah, these I'm printing all these at a very slow speed. That ensures, you know, some good quality, fewer failed prints, but it also means that the process is a little bit slower. Right now, I probably get 4 of these a day out of my 2 printers, which truthfully is not so bad. You know, it's an order of 40. I'm already 23 deep, and I'll be delivering them to Gabby next weekend at Limitless Wrestling. Again, for those who may not have seen, my booking this weekend is canceled. The inclement weather had Blitzkrieg had to call off their show, unfortunately. These are cleaning up real nice. I'm very happy with this. You know, I was pretty careful with how I set the models up, and as a result, there's very little post-processing. I totally get it. It's a bummer, you know. I was looking forward to it too. Nice chance to see a lot of good friends, hang out, and obviously perform for everybody. But yeah, it's looks like it's going to be a bad one Saturday. So, and with like no foreseeable end. Like it starts Saturday early afternoon and is supposed to go till like sometime early Monday morning. Yeah, pretty crazy. All right, that looks pretty good. Feel good with that. Yeah, I think at some point I'm going to have to invest in a larger ultrasonic cleaner. The one I have right now can only fit about one of these at a go. They make some really large ones that are specifically made for 3D printing, but they are priced as such, so they are expensive. The one I got was about 20 bucks, and is actually made for cleaning jewelry. You're meant to just put water in it and let it clean your jewelry. But yeah, I filled mine with isopropyl alcohol, and it cleans my 3D prints beautifully. The basic process when these come off the printer is first I remove all the supports, and then I have a large Tupperware tub full of isopropyl alcohol. I put these in it, and I have a soft bristled toothbrush. I kind of clean them off because you want any uncured resin removed. And then I give them a run through the ultrasonic cleaner, which hits anything that I missed. Then I bring them over here. I do whatever cleanup needs to happen because this resin is still not 100% cured. And once I feel pretty good about how they're looking, they'll take one more bath in the ultrasonic cleaner just to get all this dust and detritus off of here. And then they start taking spins through the curing box. The curing box is basically a small box. It'll hold 4 or 5 of these at a time. And it has a turntable that these spin in, and a strip of LED UV lights. And by exposing them to that UV light for 10 minutes at a shot, it fully cures everything and finishes the figure off. And it's how I made all the parts for my Perry Hasbro style figures. It's how I make the bodies for my Perry monster trucks. And it's how I make parts for my figure reproductions, my sort of replacement figures. Those who've watched a lot of my workshop streams, you've seen my Toxic Crusader figure. I'm very pleased with how that came out, and one of these days when I have some time, I'm going to finish painting his little weapons so that I can pose him up and have him looking all cool on my shelf. In fact, later today, I'm probably taking some time to build a custom shelf to display all my figures. The reason I want a custom shelf is I want it to close with glass in the front to keep them free of dust so that I'm not having to clean them all the time. And I want to make it a very specific size and shape so that I can put it above the desk in my office so that I can reference parts when I'm doing designs on my computer. Being able to reach up on a shelf and say, oh, okay, well, here's the part I made before. How did I do this? Holding the physical object in your hand is so much better than looking at any image or even watching a video. There's a tactile experience to that really helps to translate information that really otherwise it's very difficult to do. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. We're making our way through these at a pretty good clip. Before you know it, we'll be on to. I have a bunch that came off the printers this morning that the feet have not been flattened, nothing's been cleaned up, so I'll be happy to fix that up. Uh-huh. Okay, good, good. Yeah, this one's looking really clean. You can see a lot of the detail here. Here we go. Show it on the old Twitch cam as well. But yeah, these are going to be real slick once Gabby has them and she's painted them up. Really looking forward to it. Hey, AJ Kirsch, what's up, bro? If I sound like Darth Vader, it's because I'm wearing a respirator. My apologies. But yeah, got an order to make these figures for your homie, the Gnomie, Gabby Forza. So working my way through a production run here in my basement workshop. And so far, so good. I'm pretty pleased with how these came out when I did the design work. Not a lot of cleanup to do either. I was very careful with how I designed the supports on my 3D printer. So a little light sanding and these things look fantastic. I'm also very happy that Gabby is a very crafty person because she's opted to paint them herself. Otherwise, that would have been a lot more work for me. Work I'm happy to do, but still a lot of work. This one, a little bit of artifacting on that leg. Let's give it some light scrapes here. I just noticed AJ Kirsch say that's a weird looking monster truck. Yeah, unfortunately, my monster trucks I'm not getting to work on a whole lot right now because I have this production run going. I do have a few that I've been making, but they're all waiting their next steps. In fact, a lot of them are within reach. I just they're not going to make it to the workbench, unfortunately. No time today. But very soon. All right, looking good. Support's looking good. Get that a little cleaner. All right, that's looking pretty all right. Big improvement. All right. These are actually going a lot faster than I'd assumed. Yep, just a little quiet mid-afternoon workshop ASMR. The combined sounds of a bunch of little machines running, all doing my bidding, with my breathing through a respirator, with the sounds of sandpaper on plastic. It's the dream, you know? I mean, honestly, people jokingly say, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm living the dream." I mean, I make toys for a living, and then I'm a pro wrestler. I'm kind of living the dream, you know. Like it's hard for me to have any valid complaints about any of that. Looking pretty slick, slick and buff. All right, this one's actually looking pretty good already. All right, that looks good. Yeah, this one in particular is looking pretty all right. Remember, a lot of these are the second round of cleanup. Cross iPhone says, Cross iPhone says that's a good life. I'm pretty happy with it, you know. I'm doing my best. I worked pretty hard to get to that point, you know. Admittedly, I owe my wife a lot of credit because when the world shut down, she kind of that Christmas was like, you know, and she bought me a 3D printer and said, I had a feeling this is something you'd be good at. And it turned into a career. So, pretty happy for that. You know, some people know you better than you know yourself. All right. Okay. See Joey Nails tuning in. Good to see you, bud. Just doing a little post-processing on these Gabby figures. Oh, Joey Nails tuning in on two different fronts. Resubscribing on Twitch. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Bane Perry, yeah. If I wear this thing and I talk like Sean Connery, it's exactly Bane. Oh, that's what your mother said, Trebek. All right, another one down. Joey Nails, you've taken up 3D printing, but I was born into it. You merely adopted the printer. These are cleaning up real easy. I'm very pleased with this. Alright, that's what I needed. Lovely. Hoping to be back to my regular streams, doing a little gaming Monday and Tuesday, but we'll see. May end up being more workshop stuff because I've got a lot of these to get through. But who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do both. There we go. Nice. Joey Nails, I hope you're taking notes since I know you've started doing some printing of your own. You know, when you're doing them for yourself, little imperfections are fine. You know, you get a print that's pretty close, it's just for you, you know. But when you're doing the work for someone else, especially large-scale paid work like this, you got to make sure you're turning out your best work. And that's why I'm willing to take all the extra time on these. You know, the beauty of, for me, toy making and 3D printing, as soon as I got the printers, I started making toys. You know, I think I'd had my first printer for like 3 days before I had my first custom-made monster truck that I'd printed. And so I realized right away, like, oh, I'd be doing this for free. I would do this for free for myself. So why not make Perry merch? Why not make merch for other people and make a little bit of money on it? And I will say my 4 printers have all paid for themselves several times over. Just on my merch, let alone the work I've done for others. You know, I made figures for Rip Bison, figures for me. I made team figures for the 2 of us. I've made some stuff for Joey Nails here and there. I've had custom orders from other places. I've done some work for some educational places, doing prints of bones of different anatomical models. All right. There we go. Much better. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And only one left from that pile. Then we get to move on to the fresh pile. Joey Nails, you get a pair of these, probably with blue handles with your printer. Usually pretty standard. I know Elegoo always included them with mine. So did Creality. For any 3D printing connoisseurs out there, I run an Elegoo Mars 2 Pro, a Elegoo Saturn S, and 2 Ender 3 Pros, which are widely agreed where filament printers are concerned to be sort of the entry-level printer. But I find them to be absolute workhorses if they're cared for properly. And again, this very careful cutting that I'm doing here, removing some little artifacts from the printing, that can be done right now because this resin is not fully cured yet. It's got a little ways to go. And because I haven't put it through the curing box, all this plastic is just the littlest bit malleable. And that makes all the difference in this process. You know, I'm able to work in a very relaxed mode with this. Really not pressing too hard on anything, you know, so it's safer because I'm not putting a lot of stress on my blade. I'm kind of just pulling it across the plastic. That makes a big difference, both in what you're able to do on the piece and in your own safety. Because I can tell you, I've been bit by blades in the workshop. It's not fun. Heck, it's happened to me on stream before. So, you know, stay tuned in and see what's up, I guess. Yeah, bummed. I'm bummed that Blitzkrieg Pro was canceled this weekend, but it is nice they were able to call it early, give fans a lot of heads up. You know, they're not. No one's wondering. No one's still trying to drive out there. People have a lot of warning on it. All right. So that is the last of that pile. I'll show you what we've gone through so far. We do have more to go, but that's a lot of gnomes, folks. That's a lot of gnomes. All right. But we're not finished because I've got more that came off the printer in the last day and a half. So we're going to set to work on these. I'm going to dust some of this plastic away. Whew, that stuff gets everywhere. I have an air filter running in here. That's going to take a lot of that out of the air. I've got my respirator on for those on Instagram who can't see me. The respirator's on. That's why I sound like Darth Vader or Bane. All right. So this time we have a little bit longer of a process because in addition to taking care of some of this artifacting up on the hands here, the little drip, and cleaning up some of this, some of the artifacting from the supports, I also need to flatten the bottoms of these feet so that the figures will stand. Right now, this guy will just go right over. The ones that I've already done the work on, nice and sturdy. So it's important that these be able to stand, makes them look good on a shelf, makes them look good on a merch table, and that's important because you want the merch table to look good, and then you want people to be happy after they buy it. They bring it home and they can't put it up with their other figures. Well, that's not what they came for, is it? All right. Who knows? Maybe if I make enough money doing this small scale work for fellow wrestlers, maybe one day I'll start outsourcing design, or you know, I'll start casting molds instead of just running the printers all day. But for now, it's a pretty good process, and I'm really happy with what I turn out. You know, that's, to me, that's a really important part of all this. Is you got to be proud of what you're selling. You got to be proud of what you're making. And if you're not, how are you going to charge someone for that? You know, how are you gonna take someone's money if you're not yourself proud of the end result? You got to feel good about it. You want them to feel good about it. You want them to feel like they really got their money's worth. And then when fans buy it, you know, when I've sold my own, I want those fans happy with the toy. You know, I want them to be able to put it on a shelf and feel good about it. So where I could easily do a third of the work I'm doing on these, I can't, you know, that's not who I am. I want this to look the way I want it to look, if that makes sense. I can put it that simply. All right. Well, that's all looking good. All cleaned up there. Looking like a gnome, but now we gotta flatten these feet. So the process for that's real simple. Anyone who was on the stream the other day saw it. I'm literally just holding, and it's gonna sound gnarly. So apologies to anyone wearing their headphones. Ta-da! That's all we're doing, just getting that nice flat profile at the right angle so that this thing will stand up, and bam, feel good about that. All right. So once again, we're going to clean up the artifacting on the hands, which is easy enough. It's just a spot where the support's held on a little tighter than I would have liked them to. And once that's clean, we got this little spot down on the leg. There's just a little artifacting. It might not even show up once it's fully cured, but I don't want to risk it. So I just come in here and I do a little bit of scraping just to knock down that seam. It doesn't take much. We're just softening an edge, that's all. And when I'm scraping with this, I'm scraping away, rather than going in with the blade, I'm kind of pulling it back, almost like the way you might brush hair. You're really just lightly going back on that, and in a second, all that's going to smooth down. All that's going to smooth down with some sandpaper. And this sandpaper, you can tell, is getting toward the end of its life. That's okay. I got a huge pack. This is just cheapo sandpaper from the Dollar Tree. $1.25 for like 60 sheets or something insane like that. I'm not sponsored, but boy, do I wish I was. All right, that's looking good. Then we have this little bit of artifacting under the arms from where the support's connected. So we're just gonna clean that up a little bit, and then we're gonna get those feet squared away. And if all this goes well, if these all clean up real fast, we might get to these gnarly ones that printed really badly. Like these printed real bad. I might be able to save these with my Dremel, but the sound is going to be horrendous. So I'm saving that to the end. Ta-da! Ta-da! I can probably angle that back just a hair. Ta-da! Yeah, there we go. Standing strong, just like the real Gabby Forza. All right, this one's looking really good. All right, not nearly as much cleanup to do here. Okay, that's looking good there. Yeah, this one's much cleaner. Some of these, because I've been messing with the setup for the file, some of them have come out a little bit closer to perfect right off the printer. But that's the process of 3D printing. Is especially if you're doing a big run, you learn the model as you go. You start to develop, oh, I see this part doesn't like to do this, or this part gives me this problem. You correct as you go. I've probably printed, I don't know, 5 different files of this particular design. where I've kind of had to alter what I'm doing with it. All right, well, that's looking good. No cleanup on the leg on this one, so just support areas. That's the other thing. Because I'm running multiple printers, they all behave a little differently. So certain setup might work real well on one, but not work so well on the other. And that's something you learn as you go. And you can see I'm not having to do a ton of sanding on these. Just little touches, you know? All right. All right, that's looking good. All right, now to sand those feet down. Shake some of that plastic off. I'm gonna have to come through here with the shop vac later and really sweep these floors. Almost there. How's that? Pretty good. Let's check it. Elsewhere on the table, we could probably get that a bit flatter. All right, that's what we're after. Nice sturdy stance. Yeah, looking good. Just checking all these out, making sure they're. Before I take all the time to clean them up, I want to make sure that they all look good, you know. All right, here's one that has the little hand cleanup again. All right, good there. And do our little bit of scrape cleanup down on the leg. Yeah, this piece of sandpaper is getting toward the end of its life, I'm afraid. It's going to have to tag out in a minute. All right, good. how that's gonna, yeah, nice and sturdy. Good. All right, just a few more. This is going great. I am exceedingly pleased with how simple the cleanup is on these, and that's really, I have past me to thank for that. The more thoughtful you are in your setup of your file, of how you orient your model on the build plate, the easier this goes. And boy, this is not a ton of work to get these clean. Some of my early forays into resin printing were a real mess to get looking good. And I said it when I streamed the other day, but this is sort of like low-level sculpting. You know, the printer did most of the work. And you know, with any kind of sculpting, there's two. You're doing one of two things. It's either additive sculpting, which is when you're adding stuff on. You can do that with clay. You can do that with sand. But when you think of like a stone sculpting, or like the latter part of clay sculpting, it's all subtractive sculpting, where you are taking matter away. You know, I've heard the process described as you start with a lump of marble, and then you simply remove all the parts that aren't the object you're trying to sculpt. And in this case, I'm starting with the object 99% of the way there from the 3D printer, and I am sanding and scraping away all the things that are not what I want. All right. Yeah, looking good. Happy with that. And if you watch this process with how I'm sanding this, the multiple directions, that's because if you only go one direction, you can get a very uneven plane when you're done. But by switching it up, by going in circles one way, circles the other, figure eights, a little bit of some straight lines in different directions, you end up with a really nice, uniform, flat surface. And if done just right, it'll stand. That one's still got a little bit of a rock in it for my liking, so give it a little more of that fantastic ASMR. Yeah, looking good. That's what you want. You want a nice, strong stance. All right, just a few more of these. And then later tonight, I'm going to start running these through the ultrasonic cleaner so that they can start making their way through the through the curing box, the old UV curing box. Yeah, it only took me a day of doing a lot of work with these, and you know, breathing in the isopropyl alcohol fumes and the printer fumes and the airborne microplastics before I decided it was time to start wearing my respirator properly, which is good. I'm learning faster in my old age, because boy, when I was in my 20s, it took me most of 2 warp tours before I figured out I needed to wear earplugs sometimes. And my hearing is terrible as a result. So, protect your hearing, protect your breathing, kids. It's all important. You need it. another technique you can do to keep a lot of airborne stuff from getting up in the air is you could wet this sandpaper and do some wet sanding. That is very effective for that use, but I'm not doing that at the moment because I do have the respirator. And if I get these all wet, I got to wait for them to dry before I can put them through the ultrasonic cleaner. And I want my process to keep moving. So instead, I am suffering the very minor inconvenience of wearing a respirator. It's really not that big a deal. All right, let's see. Have some more of this very fine sandpaper. I'm going to tag this beat up piece out of here. It served its purpose, and we're going to start with a fresh one. This piece is still holding strong, and I've only got 2 more of these to get through for today. All right, fists are looking mostly good on this. Boy, I am very pleased with the design of this particular figure, because there were a few design elements I had in mind. I wanted it to read as Garden Gnome, and I think it definitely does that. I wanted it to read as Power Lifter, like Gabby Forza, and it definitely does that. And all the while maintaining that sort of toy look. There's a certain, I hear the guys on the major toy podcast say toyetic. It's their way of saying toy aesthetic. And boy, it's easy to get lost in that aesthetic because you want realism. So I purposely aimed a bit away from realism. I took a little more inspiration from the Garden Gnome side of things, and I'm glad I did. The end result is really nice. It's got a cool, fun look to it. I think kids at shows are going to enjoy it. And I hope Gabby sells 1 million of them and wants a lot more, because Gabby's rad and she's got a lot of fans. They're going to really like these, I think. All right, that's looking good. That's looking good. I do want to just get in here, and there's a little bit sticking down on this fist. So just very carefully get in there and remove that. Yeah, there we go. Looking good. All right, more of that great ASMR. See how that's gonna, yeah, still a little rocky. We're going to take it just down a little bit there. Get it on the stance that we would. Yeah, that's a strong, sturdy stance. I like that. All right, last one of this run, and then we may call it a stream because I gotta make some dinner here. Yeah, looking good. All right, we get a little bit of fine cleanup here. Now, when you see me getting in to do this cleanup with the X-Acto blade, I am using almost no pressure, because I know as I move it, as I wiggle, it'll make its way through. I'm letting the blade do the work for me. There it is. That looks really clean. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Yeah, boy, these That Saturn, the Elegoo Saturn, prints in 8K resolution. And boy, does it show, because these come out so crisp and so nice. I do have a very large version of one of these currently printing on my Ender 3 Pro that I'm going to gift Gabby as a display for her merch table. All right, they're looking pretty good. All right, and we'll flatten those feet. See, how's that? Yeah, nice and sturdy. That's what we want. Feel good about that. Yeah. All right, and that's gonna be our last one because I gotta head up and make some dinner. But yeah, the run of Gabby, Forza, your homie, the Gnomie figures is going well. We are rocking and rolling. I got 3 of my 4 printers running 24 hours a day right now working on these. And I am very excited for when they get to go be delivered. They've still got a little bit of work, a little bit of cleanup, and then Gabby's going to be painting them up, but I think they're going to look fantastic. I may go live again soon, as I do have my Micro Machines and Monster Jam Minis shelf design, where I'm still painting up Crush cars onto the shelves. So that may be a stream coming up really soon. I know people enjoy the miniature painting streams, so stay tuned for that. But for now, that's going to be it for this very rare Thursday afternoon Perry. Hope to see you all soon. Rye, thanks for tuning in. Joey Nails, thanks for tuning in. AJ Kirsch, always glad to hear from you, buddy. Everyone else, take care. We'll see you soon.